What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out our channel. And I can never, ever express that enough. I truly can't, and you make a huge difference in everything you do. Yesterday, we did have some new members and some rejoins and things like that, so I'm going to cover those quickly. We had a rejoin from Amanda Rivera, Sandy Gardner, and Rebecca Ben Abraham. Thank you so much for your support. And there's about 20 so of you who've been with me for around 12 to 14 months at this point. That's insane, isn't it? Oh, man, I am blessed. Thank you so much. And let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from Significant Can 5944. Am I the arsehole for keeping my son's name chosen while I was pregnant after my sister-in-law used it for her son 5 weeks earlier? I had my son a month ago. We had his name chosen early in my pregnancy. It's a double honour name which kind of came from a unique place. We had two people we wanted to honour. We didn't go with direct names, but names that tied to the people, and we happened to truly love the names. We announced the sex and the name in a Facebook post in April with a blanket that had his name embroidered on it. Fast forward a week and my sister-in-law, my husband's sister for clarity, who nobody knew was expecting, announces she's given birth to a son. And the name she had chosen? The very same name we had chosen. It was awkward. My in-laws all asked her what she was thinking. She said she got to give birth first and loved the name, so what's the big deal? My husband thought she was nuts and told her she was a dick for thinking she had claimed the name now. She said it wasn't her fault she got there first. I was like, it's fine, we're not changing the name and the cousins can share the same name. Well, she's pissed that this actually happened. She texted my husband about it 2 days after our son was born, asking him what our son's name is, and he told her she knew we had announced it. Cue her texting every member of the family saying how awful we were to the kids and how we were petty and nasty and how I'm an arsehole for stealing the name after she used it. Father-in-law told us to ignore her, that it will settle down, but she is still pissed and said we're only hurting the kids with this. She specifically called me the arsehole because I was the one who said we would just keep the name as planned despite her using it. She said I'm an arsehole to her and to our boys. Am I the arsehole? Now, the fact that you came into this one and you had already announced what you was going to give the name, and it sounds like it might have been a sort of unique name as well, that one that meant very much to you, and so she clearly just went ahead and, you know, stole the name. Not that anyone can just, you know, make claim to names like that, but, you know, it was a dick move from this person. They clearly done this just because they saw you announce it and thought, oh yeah, I like that name, I'll take it, and then gets on your back about it and starts claiming that you're the one stealing it. Hell no. I think he was very calm and collected through this story. You know, you never lost it and went, you're bloody stealing the name from me or anything like that. He was very calm about it and just said, you know, we can both use the same name. But I tell you what, the little petty side of me would have loved to seen her, like, her face when you did announce that name on Facebook as well. But Crayola in my brain says she's delusional, not the arsehole. The fact that you stuck to your guns showed that she had ill intentions by picking that name. She was playing chicken and obviously hoped that you'd choose something different. Now she's pissed you didn't flinch. And Hello Detour says, in quotes, she said I'm an arsehole to her and to our boys. People share names and live happy and normal lives. They are cousins, not siblings. And Sarah C907 says, not the arsehole. She got to give birth first. Ah, so she's one of those people. Don't feel an ounce of guilt. And Lots of Cash says, I would get some fish, a dog and a turtle and name them all the same name. Announce a new animal weekly with this name. Power move time, OP. Not the arsehole. And LMCK says, not the arsehole, petty move on her part, and good for you for sticking to your guns. The kids will be fine. It's not like having the same name is going to traumatize them. And we'll have one more from Trillium Summer saying, not the arsehole, she gambled and lost, which is always something you should consider when gambling. If she hates it that much, she can change her kid's name. Now, what would you do if you found yourself in this situation? I'd love to know your thoughts below. And we'll move on to the next story. And our next story is from Vacation with Daughter. Am I the arsehole for telling my daughter that if she wants to bring her siblings to the cabin, she can? But Would we have to be their babysitter? I, 34 male, have a yearly tradition with my daughter, 18 female, that we go out to the cabin my family owns for about a week or two every summer. This year she asked if she could bring her half siblings, 8 female, 11 male and 12 female, along. Honestly, I didn't want them there, since now that my daughter's an adult, I was hoping to finally just kick back and not have to be actively looking out for anyone. So I told her she can invite them, but I won't be doing anything. That's on her to take care of them. Don't get me wrong, like I'd still feed the kids, like when I barbecue, I wouldn't just let them go hungry. But it would be my daughter's responsibility to actively take care of her siblings, i.e. make sure they're safe while going to the lake. If they get sick or hurt, it's on her to care for them. My daughter called me selfish and she wanted a relaxing vacation and not have to take care of her siblings, so I told her, so don't invite them. And then she said it was cruel to uninvite them when she already said they could go. And they were looking forward to it, so I said, alright then, take care of them. Were you expecting me to do that? Lol, no. She called me an arsehole and said it was my responsibility as the adult to take care of kids. And I reminded her that she is now an adult, and if she wants them there, it's on her to take care of them. They're not my kids, so I don't see why I have to waste my vacation taking care of kids who are literally not my responsibility. Am I the arsehole? Before anyone questions the age of my daughter and myself, just to clear up that yes, I had her at a really young age, at the ripe old age of 16. Her mother and I never got married and life just went on, and we have an alright co-parenting relationship. Her siblings are the product of her mother's marriage, so technically they are her half siblings. Now it's just the sense of entitlement on this one that, you know, she invited the siblings along with already the assumption that the dad was just going to take care of them the whole time, and it's just like, what goes through your head to think that? And seeing as she's already got this sort of lax attitude towards them and she just wants to relax and all this kind of thing, I'd be very worried about taking care of 3 young ones like that, an 8 female, 11 and a 12-year-old. You know, they could get up to all sorts of mischief. I'm not saying that these kids are not responsible, I don't know what they're like, but I certainly wouldn't want that responsibility on my shoulders, especially when I'm going somewhere to relax anyway. So I gotta say, you aren't the arsehole in this situation. I'm not really sure how you can solve it, unless you just say, look, I don't want them to come at all, because from the way the daughter's talking in this one, it doesn't sound like she would take responsibility for them anyway, but who knows. We'll move on to the comments to see what they say. And we'll start with Mizu5 said, not the arsehole, you don't invite someone on vacation unless you ask the person hosting. You always take ownership and responsibility for guests, which in this case would be the half siblings. At 18, unfortunately, you aren't a kid anymore. Legally, physically, or any of it, she should have planned to be their caregiver. And Entertainment OK 6284 says, not the arsehole. I really had to laugh at your daughter's logic. I want to have a relaxing holiday, but let's invite the half siblings along. Dad will take care of it. All the while, if she didn't invite them, she could have had the relaxing holiday with you. So yeah, actions have consequences. Your daughter is learning about them right now. And Issa says, not the arsehole, it sounds as if she wants to invite them the same way she should have brought along a friend when she was 11. In other words, somebody for her to have fun with, but for you to look after. You're right that she is an adult, and if she wants to bring them, she should look after them. It's hilarious that she complained she wanted a relaxing vacation, but apparently doesn't care if you wanted one. And Sly Dog says, not the arsehole, with an assumption that you wouldn't actually completely ignore the existence of 3 younglings from a safety perspective. It's 100% reasonable to expect your now adult daughter to be the primary responsible party for her younger siblings, if she wants to invite them, and is fairly entitled of her to believe otherwise. Let this be an excellent first lesson in adulthood. Make good choices. If she doesn't want to be responsible for them, she needs to uninvite them and suffer the consequences of her own hasty actions. And Scrap Queen says, not the arsehole, but think about this. She may be hoping you will be the bad guy here. She doesn't want to have to tell her siblings no, and she was hoping you would say no. At this point, just tell her, look, I don't want to fight with you about this, so I think it's best they just do not come. You can blame me. And we're finished with Purple Womat saying, not the arsehole. Welcome to adulthood, darling. Too true. Now, what are your thoughts on this one, and how would you react in this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story is from Danny is a Duck. Would I be the arsehole for pretending to have a boyfriend when I have a girlfriend? I, 20 female, just started a new job at a very small company. Since COVID restrictions are being lifted here now, my boss in her 60s suggested we celebrate me being here by going to a restaurant next week. I thought that's a lovely gesture and agreed. Later it came up that everyone, all 3 other women who work here, lol, would be bringing their husbands. At some point I must have mentioned that I'm in a relationship without thinking about it because one asked me to bring my boyfriend. I panicked and said he's probably got work. She said we'd just go whenever he's got time because they would love to meet him. Small business, everyone's friends here. The thing is, I'm a closeted bi in a relationship with another girl. I still live with my parents, and part of the reason I got this job is because the boss's daughter, also works here, is my mother's cousin. My parents are very homophobic and assume I'm single and straight. I can see them kicking me out of the house if they find out, and it's practically impossible to find a place here if you don't have a steady job of at least 6 months. And I can totally see this making its way to my parents somehow. I brought this up to my girlfriend and another friend of ours the other day, and our friend suggested that just for the day he plays my boyfriend. No kissing, maybe just holding hands or whatever. I can tell my girlfriend didn't like the idea at all. Probably since she's a lesbian and I'm only bi, and our friend is conventionally very attractive. She didn't tell me I couldn't do it, but I understand that she'd be upset as I'm actively hiding her from everyone. I'm thinking maybe I'll just say he'll be there and then pretend something came up, but either way I'm probably still going to have to lie about her. My friend's idea seems to be the easiest way out. I'll just pretend we broke up a while later. Would I be the arsehole for going with this plan? I wanted to come into this one and say, like, you are the arsehole if you do go ahead with this plan. You're in an absolute awful situation. I feel so incredibly bad for saying you're the arsehole for doing so, you know, because you're in something that's really tough. I was going, at the very beginning, I was like, oh, why can't you just tell people about it? And then you came out about your parents and the way they treat you and what might possibly happen. And you're so in the middle of so many different things. I feel so sorry for you. But I think usually what we see in these stories, and it may be a wrong example in this situation, but when you do these kind of lies, they usually get out of control and you forget where you've lied and you create this whole spider web, a whole mess of lies, and you eventually trip yourself up, and that's definitely what you don't want to do. But I don't think your friend is necessarily, you know, upset at you because your friend is attractive or whatever. I think it's more that, you know, you're hiding the relationship, and possibly for good reason when you talk about your parents and things like that. And it sounds like you're just biding your time until you can actually do something about it, like move out when your job is like really stable and secure. And I'm not sure what the true solution is, and I'm sure there'll be some comments below of people who's been through similar experiences. So we'll go to them to see what they say. And we'll start off with KFNNNP saying you would be the arsehole if you went ahead with this plan knowing it makes your girlfriend uncomfortable and knowing that you have other options. Why can't you just pretend you broke up before having the dinner? And Trent Rockport says, I can appreciate your desire to keep your personal life separate from your work life. Don't bring a stand-in, that's a lie and you'll be stressed the whole time. Even a harmless question like, how did you two meet, could bust you out and cause your boss to question your integrity in general. I'll just show up alone and not offer an explanation where none is called for. And TNS Scatterbrain says, not the arsehole, for being in a really awful situation and trying to find a way to deal that won't get you kicked out, but you would be the arsehole if you do this if your girlfriend isn't on board. You wouldn't be doing yourself any favours at work either. The lie would snowball and he might end up playing boyfriend again, and then your girlfriend would be even more upset, and eventually your work would find out that you were living a fake life. I don't usually condone lying, but as you're not ready to come out at work for valid reasons, I'm not criticising. You'd be better off saying that you're not with him anymore. It's still lying to people at work, but it explains why you don't have a date for these things, or even any pictures. Then if and when you feel comfortable, you can simply come out as bi at work and introduce your girlfriend. You could be non-specific about how long you've been together if you wanted. In my opinion, for what it's worth, most people would understand that better than a faked personal life. And Jenna too says, you're the arsehole if you do this. Why can't you say you broke up and pretend to be single? Or stick to the line, he can't come. Don't get him to be your pretend boyfriend. It's horrible to everyone involved. An unknown username says, no one's an arsehole here, but I don't think she's upset because your friend is attractive or because you're bi. She's probably upset about your hiding her, and while I generally agree it's your decision when you come out to whom, you still have to understand that even though that might be the easiest option, her feelings are very valid too. Maybe you should sit down and discuss what you're comfortable with doing, like no kissing, etc. What her boundaries are, so she feels respected still. Like, yes, it's your life and stuff. It just reads as if you don't want to lose her, and this seems to be a good option to still make her feel included and important to you. And we'll have one more from Hey Demons, It's Me, yeah, saying, info, why not just stall for a while longer? He's busy with work, and then tell him you broke up without bringing in your friend as the fake boyfriend. This seems like the easiest route to me and doesn't hurt your girlfriend. People, especially young people, break up all the time. I don't think anyone at work would question it. And then OP replies saying, they asked what he does for work and I said he works at a law firm. It's what my girlfriend does. I don't know what the exact job it is in English. And the dinner is on Sunday when they don't work. But I'm probably going to say he had something else come up and he couldn't make it when I get to the dinner. And the little edit says, thank you for all your help guys. I've decided to go alone and say something came up last minute and he couldn't come. Then a few weeks from now I'll say we broke up. I just talked to my girlfriend about the whole thing and she assured me she doesn't mind that I lie about being in a relationship, but she would rather be hidden than replaced in my lies. Thanks for everyone for the advice. Now, what would your thoughts be on this story? How would you deal with this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And this story is from Smooth Astronaut 894. Am I the arsehole for not giving up my table at a cafe to other patrons, causing them to be asked to leave? This only happened to me yesterday, so it's still pretty fresh for me, and I'm not sure how to feel. There's a cafe right next door to where I work, and I've been going to every day at the same time for about 4 years. I order the same thing every day, to the point where the waitress runs my order as soon as I walk in the door. She doesn't even ask. I'm friendly with the staff and I get to hear about what's going on in their lives, and most importantly to this story, I always sit in the same spot, if it's available. The tables range in size and number of seats. The ones in this particular corner have 4 seats, but really are too small for 4 people. Well, yesterday morning I went in to get my bacon and eggs and said hi to the waitress and took my seat. The inside was busier than usual because it's winter and cold as fuck outside. 4 ladies then entered after me, placed their orders and sat down at the 4-seater next to me. Now these ladies were all a little larger and had ordered food as well as coffees, so the table would not have been a comfortable size for them. The first lady turned to me and asked quite politely if I could move to another table, as I was alone so they could push the tables together. Before I could answer though, the second lady interjected, demanding the same quite rudely. I refused and suggested that they could move, as there were several larger tables outside, although again they would have to brave the cold. This second lady became quite demanding, saying I was being selfish and her friends were obviously embarrassed. She raised her voice to the point where the waitress asked them all to leave for hassling the regulars. So now I feel torn. On the one hand, this lady was rude and I was a paying customer who didn't want to sit outside in the winter air. On the other hand, the other ladies weren't rude and I was occupying a table they could have used. If I had moved, they would have had their food in peace instead of getting kicked out. So, am I the arsehole? Nope, and I can see myself doing exactly the same as you in this situation. Like, this group of people came and sat next to you, and the first one asked you polite, and like you, I would have said, yeah, okay, I can do that, because they asked politely and they was kind about it. But as soon as someone starts being rude about it, yeah, I dig my heels in as well, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't be moving for someone with an entitled attitude either. We've learned far too many times reading hundreds and hundreds of stories about entitled people, yeah, and we don't play to that bullshit no more, do we? Can I get a hell yeah? And let's face it, you didn't get her kicked out, she got herself kicked out with her asshole attitude. That's on her. But Damon says, perfect example of kindness getting you further than vitriol. You didn't have to move, you were going to as a favour because the lady was nice. That was until her friend pretty much demanded you move. It wasn't your fault she got her friends kicked out, she did all that herself for being rude. Not the arsehole. And Watergate Punk Rock says, not the arsehole, as someone who's worked in several restaurants and cafes. I would have kicked out a table for harassing my other guests regardless of whether or not you were a regular. If the ladies asked once nicely, I think it would have been nice of you to move, although I would never ask someone to move as a guest or a server and wouldn't blame you if you kindly refused. The fact that they demanded it means they felt entitled to it and don't deserve it. Your actions didn't cause them to be kicked out, their actions did. And Setting Jealous says, they didn't leave because of you, they were kicked out because there was an arsehole in their group. Not your fault, not the arsehole. And Superfast Mama says, not the arsehole. If she was as rude as you say, then yeah, not much you can do. Now to the more important topic. You eat bacon and eggs every single day for 4 years. And we'll have one more from Steve Dresner saying, not the arsehole, if there was an issue with where you were seated, the staff would have asked you to move. And now I turn today's stories to you guys. What do you guys make of today's stories? What are your verdicts on today's stories? If you choose to share them, of course, never any pressure to do so. And just once again, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending 20 minutes or so with the channel and getting involved. If you haven't done so already, would you please consider hitting that like button if you did enjoy today's stories and if you want to support the channel further. But again, never any pressure to do so. You can click that join button down below for YouTube or click the link in the description for Patreon and join in up there. Thank you for your love, your support and your time, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love. You have a great day now.